Hey, Internet, Eric here. Um, I don't know if I've mentioned this before in previous videos. How I'm a big wrestling fan. I think I've reviewed a WrestleMania before. I've reviewed a WWE Films movie, 12 Rounds with John Cena. Um, but I just mentioned WWE Films. WWE got their own production company, and their first film is what I'm going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about See No Evil, starring WWE superstar Kane. Um, Real name Glenn Jacobs. Not really any other big name or recognizable people, but it is directed by former porn director Gregory Dark. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I do give potential plot spoilers, what have you. That's just how I talk about the films I talk about. And yeah, so if it's a major plot spoiler, I'll make sure to warn you right beforehand so you can stop and then maybe go watch the movie or maybe skip forward. Anyways, See No Evil came out in 2006, and the basic plot is we start out with a couple police officers investigating a noise disturbance, and when they get inside the building, there is a girl who has been brutally attacked. Her eyes have been ripped out in a really cool gory effect. Um, and they find out that the victim has been tortured by Jacob Goodnight, played by Kane. You can get a good shot of Kane there. And Kane eventually kills the partner, or the I don't you say partner, deputy, whatever. Kills one of the cops, and then attacks the other cop, hacks his arm off with an axe, and before the officer goes down, he fires a shot off at Jacob Goodnight, striking him in the back of the head. Jacob Goodnight takes off and isn't seen again. Cop goes to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Years later, we now meet this group of young adults, I guess, aged 21 to 25, what have you. And they're in this detention center. And they are told that they can get a couple months, and it's a like minor stuff like theft, assault, I think public intoxication, minor shit like that. Even though assault isn't that minor, but they are told that they can get a couple months knocked off their sentence with this work release type program, where if they clean up the I think it's called, what is it? I say it. They clean up the Blackwell Hotel. It's a community service thing. They clean up the Blackwell Hotel, which is it was damaged by fire, and it just fell into ruins, and now it's just a place where like homeless people and drug addicts and stuff like that show up. And of course, as they're there, they're being stalked by Jacob Goodnight, one by one, and the security officer there watching the kids is the same cop that lost his arm to Jacob years before. He now has a prosthetic, and is basically the rest of the movie is them trying to survive the night. Um, First off, I want to say I love the Jacob Goodnight character. He first, especially with Kane's performance. Um, I love the Jacob Goodnight character because yes, he's like this silent brute. He runs around with an axe, hacking people up. But that's one thing I love about him. I love how he runs after his victims. We're so used to the slow stalking Michael Myers or the later version of Jason. Him running after his villains reminds me of the early Jason, like in part 3 or part 2, and to an effect part 4. It's more scary, and especially if it's someone the size of Kane. I believe Kane is billed at 6'10", 6'11", 325 pounds, if not more. I'll find out his real height and weight, and I'll put it below. But you see this big hulking monster, chasing you, you're going to be scared shitless. I love what I love about Jacob Goodnight. I love that he's human. He can feel pain. I mean, there are times, he's beaten up with pipes. He gets an axe to his leg, and then the rest of the movie he's limping. He gets, cut and stuff like that. But he shows pain. It stops him in his tracks. But what also is great is, because of Kane's size, he's so intimidating. You believe what he's doing when he's bursting through walls or bursting through, a two-way mirror, which is a really cool scene. He's looking for his would-be victims. He literally grabs a bed with one hand and just lifts it and looks under and puts it down. The man, Kane's size, you can believe that this serial killer will do that. What I love about Kane as well is his character in WWE, before, when he first started, didn't have a lot of lines. He was this silent monster, kind of like Jacob. I think in this movie, Jacob maybe has 2 lines. So Kane had to rely on body language, and he does that here. He relies on his, the way he, like I said, he's running after you, intimidating. He relies on his facial features. He shows pain. He shows sadness. He shows some remorse sometimes. He shows a little bit of fear. I love it. I really love it. I love the look they give Kane. He's disgusting and grimy. He's got these long, disgusting fingernails. That one of his main things is, you find out that a lot of these killings are because you find out Kane's backstory, or Jacob Goodnight's backstory, and he was raised by a religious zealot mother who everything was a sin. Sex is a sin. Women are sins. Pleasure is a sin. And, the eyes are the gateway into your soul. So these sinners have their eyes plucked out. And, you see these long, disgusting fingernails. They're not Freddy Krueger long, but they're longer than they're supposed to be. And some cool effects. You literally see him digging in, pulling them out, and he saves them in fucking glass jars. That's really disgusting. So he's a very scary, disgusting creature. The other characters, nothing special. I mean, you got the token black guy, you got the blonde bitch, you got the tough asshole, you got the nerd who knows about the blueprints of the hotel. Because a side story is him and the black guy. I don't really know names of the characters because they're not too memorable. Him and the black guy find out that there is the owner of the Blackwell Hotel, the former owner, had a hidden safe, and they're gonna crack the safe because the black guy knows how to crack safes, of course. So, and you got the hippie chick, because she doesn't eat meat and this and that. So lots of throwaway characters. No, the characters aren't too important. The main reason you focus on this film, you want to watch this film, is to watch those kids get tortured or get chased by Jacob. Let's talk about the gore. I mentioned, the eye plucking. Sometimes you get a side view and you just see the finger going past into the eye socket, but you don't see anything. You see some CGI blood. But there's one scene where you actually finally see Jacob get his finger in the eye and pull it out to an amazing, gross effect. The gore here is really good. Let's just say someone falls through a greenhouse, and you see their arms sliced open, and you don't see them the slice as it happening, but as they're just hanging there, as they fall. You just see their arms, and their arms are cut open. You get the meat hanging there, the blood pouring on the floor. What else do we have? We have some impalements that look good. We have some head smashings, some axes, to the body. Some off-screen stuff, some bloodless kills. I will say this. This is the only movie I've ever seen a cell phone used in a death. So we have some creativity. But overall, the gore is really good. And speaking of gore, it will take me into Gregory Dark. and meaning Gore with Gregory Dark is, we'll talk about his directing style. One of my favorite scenes, favorite shots, is the opening scene. You know, I mentioned the girl who was attacked by Jacob after, you know, Jacob was shot and ran away. Gregory Dark focuses on the girl's eye sockets, and then the camera goes in through the eye sockets, and then we see like the opening credits or whatever. There, it takes us back to the next scene. So that's a cool shot. Gregory Dark, I'm sure his past life or past jobs directing pornography helped him with these the creativeness in taking these shots. One of my favorite shots is you know, after we see what happened to the cop, and we're in his bedroom. He wakes up, and it's just a shot strictly coming down from the ceiling, but you have the ceiling fan moving in the camera's way, so you got that little bit blocking the cop in his bed as he's getting ready to go up and, you know, use the bathroom. So I just think that's a creative shot. I love the quick cuts that Gregory Dark does. He does some speeding up, you know, when people are running, you know, or shaky cam. Where I really like his choice of camera shots. This is the only, I think, mainstream movie that Gregory Dark has directed. But he does a fantastic job. Oh, and I mentioned the gore. I won't say how, but the way that they take out Jacob Goodnight. Very creative, very disgusting, believable. Because, like I said, Jacob Goodnight's character, for the most part, is based in reality. He's got like a metal plate in his head. I like how every time you see flies, because like I said, Jacob Goodnight's a disgusting character. Every time you see a fly on screen, that's kind of a signal that Jacob's around. I mentioned Jacob's mom. This is a little bit of a plot spoiler. We do see her in this film, and we find out why Jacob is doing what he's doing because of what she is training him to do. That's all I will say. The woman playing Jacob's mom, as little screen time as she has, be it in the present or in the past with the flashbacks to Jacob's childhood or adolescence or whatever. I think Jacob's like 12 in like the flashbacks. She's really good. She's got a screen presence. She's very creepy. She's very scary. And I love that scene where she's talking to Jacob, telling Jacob, you know, do you see the sin? Do what you need to do. And you see, like I said, with the facial expressions of Kane, you see how tortured he feels. He doesn't really want to do this, but then he's kind of like Jason. He's just a big mama's boy, if you think about it, and he does what Mama says. There's a side story where, like I said, the murders are because of, what did I say? Because of sin and religion, what have you. Every time Jacob has found a character, a would-be victim with religious tattoos, he usually takes them captive. Well, he takes a character named Kira captive because she's got religious tattoos on her body, and he throws her in like a dog cage in what we'll call his lair. And I'll talk about Gregory Dark again. Is there a set designer? I don't know, but let's just say Gregory Dark has a great way of shooting his lair. And the way this is disgusting, you know, shit all over the floor, melted candles, a table just covered in these gigantic mason jars full of eyeballs, just the grime and the grit, and you can just feel the dirtiness and the disgustingness. Just watching these, you know, these shots of Jacob Goodnight's lair. And I like the way Gregory Dark uses different tones. I think he makes the tone of the film the way it looks a little darker, a little grimier, so you can feel that. I mean, you can feel the dirtiness of this hotel, the disgustingness of Jacob's lair. It's kind of like Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. You know, that takes place during a heat wave. The way he shoots that and the way he makes the characters look, you could almost feel the heat, you know, coming through your TV set or whatever you were watching. You can feel how hot that was. When you're watching this, you can feel, or you know, like if how disgusting would it feel if you were in that hotel? You could feel that. And speaking of disgusting, like I said, I mentioned how Jacob is disgusting, and he's kind of tortured. Um, he's like when he captures Kira, there's a really disgusting scene where he just stares at her in the kennel. And he starts kind of rubbing his crotch. So like you know, he's trying to keep the sin away, but he still can't stop the sin of masturbation while looking at Kira. I mean, Kira's a very attractive woman. I'm sure Jacob Goodnight has had no, obviously, experience with women. So Kane does a fantastic job making Jacob Goodnight a disgusting but scary character. He's one of my favorite slashers in recent memory. Let's just say, I do have some qualms about this. I do wish that, I mean, they set up this cop, because he's now in the hotel where Jacob Goodnight is, and they set up like there's going to be this big confrontation, and I'm sad there really isn't. They don't really have a lot of interaction now between Jacob and the cop, and that's a big disappointment. I really, really wish there was more to that. That really disappointed me because I thought that would have been the focal point of the film. The cop helping the kids survive to the end, and we hardly get any Jacob versus the cop scenes at all. When the cop gets it, the cop's gonna get it. You can just watch this and tell he gets it good, and I really like it. And it goes back to the good gore here. Other than that, and some characters that you don't really care about, you don't hate them, but they're just there to be slaughtered. I don't really have a lot of problem with this. I think it's because it's only 84 minutes. It's less than 90 minutes, an hour and a half, so that might help it. The flow is great. Yeah, overall, I highly recommend if you're a fan of slasher films, and if you're tired of the normal Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers crap, don't get me wrong, I like them. I love them. Give See No Evil a shot. Give Jacob Goodnight a shot. I really do think he can give Jason a run for his money in like the horror movie slasher badass character category. I know they made a sequel. I just bought the sequel for $5 at Walmart. I will review that as well. I watched it once. I don't remember it being too memorable, but I don't know. I remember watching it late at night and pretty drunk, so that could be why. Anyways, highly, highly recommend. If you're a fan of horror movies, fan of slasher films, highly recommend See No Evil, 2006, starring Kane, directed by Gregory Dark. That's it. Thank you for watching my channel. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and tell your enemies, or don't tell nobody. That's fine. If you've got any recommendations, what you would like me to watch, I've got some recommendations. I've been asked to review the Evil Dead series, been asked to review the Alien series, which I will get to eventually. Check out my past videos. What else? Anyways, I will say cheers. And do you see the sin?